Hey everyone, Harry here, and I wanted to give a quick report on the publication of the Mark Meadows texts that we know he gave over to the committee many moons ago before he pulled the plug on cooperating all together. So we're talking about something like 2,300 texts. We're talking about texts that his very excellent lawyer was ready to give over, withholding others, a great number of others. So there's reason to think these are not the most inculpatory. And all in all, they're pretty inculpatory. And what they tend to reflect is the involvement, first, of Meadows everywhere. Though, to be fair to him or whatever, his involvement generally consists of giving lip service to whoever is giving him the harebrained idea of the moment, saying, "Oh, that's great, I love it, perfect, etc." Or "I'm going to tell POTUS," but very short kinds of texts. Though there are certainly some that as a former prosecutor, would find useful. For instance, when he said, "I have pushed for Pence to take the view," and proceeds to state the plainly unconstitutional view of what Pence can do on the 6th. But the big thing here, all the focus has been on Trump, understandably, but in the context of these 2,300 texts, Trump begins to appear as a sort of ringleader or central figure, but in a large conspiracy of very willing co conspirators. So among these 2,300 texts are texts to some 34 members of Congress. Some of them are responsive, where people like maybe Gosar or Brooks write him and say, let's do this or that outrageous thing, claim this or that outrageous lie. And Meadows responds, "Perfect, I love it, let's do it," etc. Not just members of Congress, state officers and officials of the sort that the Trump administration was trying to persuade to go along. Dark money groups who were maybe funding this. And it basically makes Trump appear less a lone crazed actor and more a kind of point person in a very big conspiracy. And you can have such a conspiracy. A conspiracy is simply an agreement to do something unlawful and some overt act. And if you agree that the takeover of the DOJ was unlawful and fraudulent, or the Eastman attempt to propound false law and push Pence to do something that the Constitution didn't permit, as he basically admitted, that's an agreement to do something lawful. Or Giuliani going down to Georgia and badgering officials there to say things that Giuliani, knew were wrong as to the Georgia official. That's something unlawful. And if you agree to do that and take any overt act, phone call, anything, that's conspiracy liability. And it just appears in the wake of all these messages that there are many people who really do seem to have co-conspirator liability. Some might be more, some might be less. All of them are really candidates, and I'm sure this hasn't escaped the Department of Justice, for cooperation. You explain to them the hot water they may be in and try to persuade them to help and cooperate, and talk about their fellow co-conspirators. 63 different messages to some of the worst activists like Biggs and Brooks. "I love it," says Meadows, about the fake elections. He receives emails even as of 1/17, 3 days before Biden takes office, urging the president to declare martial law. So Meadows is the guy that people weren't able to get in touch with Trump directly. They were able to get in touch with Meadows. That's kind of his role. I'm sure he would say, if he were at trial, "Oh, I just, all I was a traffic conductor. Things came through. I gave bland acknowledgments." But they are more than that. He is also communicating with Fox News, Laura Ingraham. The idea that was developed shortly after January 6th, that the antagonists were all Antifa bad left wingers, and not bad right-wingers seems to have, developed in consultation with him. Certain people, certain legislators, maybe Prime among them, Senator Ted Cruz, are shown to be very active operators. Some even seem to think there's something to fraud claims. It's hard to say, but they all seem to think that it would be disaster to let Biden's victory just proceed, and they needed somehow to reverse it and keep Trump in. An email that really caught my eye was when he said he had pushed for Pence to have that unconstitutional action and interpretation. That to me starts to smell a fair bit like co conspirator liability. But the basic two messages are Meadows up to his neck in all kinds of stuff. And again, this is just half or so of the emails that his lawyer wanted us to see. Thereafter, when the lawyer stopped cooperating, he sued the January 6th committee, and the committee, because they were in litigation with him, stopped. But the Department of Justice is going to get the rest of those texts, and I think they're going to be even worse. So that's the first point, is that it shows Meadows a kind of willing, at least cheerleader to all these crazy plots, even up to the 17th of January. And then maybe more significantly, shows a big circle of people around Trump, members of Congress, maybe state officials, dark money types, all the president's men, you could say, although we certainly also have women, the sort of team crazy versus team normal at the end there. The team crazy were mainly lawyers like Jenna Ellis, like Sidney Powell. That also, comes through in the text traffic. So pretty big stuff. Don't neglect it. Talking Points memo, which got their mitts on it, and it's good they did, have several different reports breaking different things down. You might want to check that out. But if nothing else, take away the headlines. Meadows a big cheerleader, and a lot of people willing participants, not just being strong-armed by Trump or acquiescing in some way. They are working for this same unlawful, unconstitutional, ahistorical, absolutely harrowing and deplorable result of, for the first time, keeping the United States from experiencing the peaceful transfer of power that is the hallmark of democracy. Okay, so big stuff happening next Monday. They're going to tell us their recommendations for criminal referrals. Next Wednesday, the 21st, comes the whole report. So a lot of things to talk about. And when they do, I'll be there. And until then, talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.